All right, we're going to be talking about Chapter 5, Lesson 3 here. This is called complex fractions. So a complex fraction, this is a fraction that has a fraction in either the numerator the denominator, or both places. And the way that we look at this, we will see that generally a fraction will look something like this. This is a complex fraction. There's a fraction in the denominator. We can see that this is the denominator because this line here is longer than this one. So this is in the denominator, this is in the numerator. Whenever we see a problem in the homework or on an assessment, it'll either be a longer line or it'll look like this, where the line is darker. Generally, the line will be longer. It can be both darker and longer, but if it's darker, it will not generally be much longer than the original line. So let's go through some examples here. So example 1, I have 1/4 divided by 1/5. This line here, keep in mind, this really means to divide. So I can rewrite this complex fraction as a problem that looks like this. This is division of fractions. I keep the first number, so I keep it as 1/4. I change this division sign to a multiplication sign, and I flip 1/5 to become its reciprocal. Now I simply multiply the numerators, so 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 1 is 4. And then my last step, of course, is to simplify. So this is an improper fraction. I don't like improper fractions. So I'm going to try to change this to a mixed number. So I can take 1/4 out of 5. And if I take a 4 out of 5, I'm left with just 1 out of 4. So 1/4 divided by 1/5 is 1 1/4. Let's look at example 2 here. Example 2 is 2/3 divided by 6. Again, this line means to divide. So I'm going to take 2/3, I'm going to divide it by 6. This one may look a little bit more confusing, but I can change 6 to be a fraction. If I do that, my new problem will be 2/3 divided by 6/1. Keep, change, flip. So I keep the first number. I change the division to multiplication, and I flip the second number to its reciprocal. I then multiply across, so 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 6 is 18. And then I can simplify this. There's a common factor of 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 2/3 divided by 6 is 1/9. Let's turn it over to look at example 3. We can use complex fractions to help us find unit rates. So example 3 says Marcus has a bag of cat food that contains 22.5 cups. He feeds his cats a total of 3/4 cups of food per day. So how many days will the bag last? So we're looking for 22.5 over 3/4. Again, I can change this problem from a fraction to a division problem with fractions. Next thing I want to do is I want to convert this mixed number to an improper fraction. So 2 times 22 is 44, plus 1 is going to be 45. I want to change this division sign to a multiplication sign. And I want to change or flip this fraction to its reciprocal. If you see how to simplify this right now, then you can go ahead and do that. But if you don't, then follow along. So we're going to multiply across. So 45 times 4 is 180. 2 times 3 is 6. In fact, there is a common factor of 6. 180 divided by 6 is 30. And 6 divided by 6 is 1. And this can be simplified even further to just say 30, which means that this bag of cat food will last 30 days. And example 4, we can also use complex fractions to write percents as a fraction. So what I'm going to do, percent literally means out of 100. So I'm going to put 6 1/4 out of 100. I'm going to simply write down what the percentage is over 100. I can now rewrite this problem as 6 1/4 divided by 100. I'm going to change both of these to improper fractions. So 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So this is 25 over 4. 100 as an improper fraction would be 100 over 1. In order to do this problem, I'm going to keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep the first number the same. I'm going to change division to multiplication. And I'm going to flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. If you see how to simplify it right now, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, follow along. 25 times 1 is 25. 4 times 100 is 400. There is a common factor of 25. So if I do 25 divided by 25, that is going to be 1. 400 divided by 25 is going to get me 16. If I were to go ahead and do this to check it, let's go ahead and look. Let's use our calculator here. So I have 1 divided by 16. That's what the fraction is. Let's see what the decimal is that comes out. 0.0625. As a percent, we would move the decimal to the right 2 places and get 6.25%, which is what we started with, 6 1/4, which means that we did this problem correctly. This is the end of the lesson, so if you have any questions, please let me know.